The NFL season will officially be underway tonight. This is Kate's Takes, and let's talk about the top storylines heading into Week 1. The first storyline that I would like to talk about is the kickoff game being the Bills versus the Rams. The Bills are heavy Super Bowl favorites heading into this season, and they start their season by playing the defending Super Bowl champs, the Los Angeles Rams. The Bills added linebacker Von Miller in free agency, and Gabriel Davis, their wide receiver, is projected to have a breakout season in 2022. The Rams, however, added Allen Robinson and Bobby Wagner, and also still have Jalen Ramsey, Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald on their squad. I do see the Bills having the slight edge over the Rams. I think this will be a great game and a great kickoff into the NFL season. I definitely expect Josh Allen to put up amazing numbers, and I can't wait to watch the game. Moving forward, I would like to talk about one of the biggest storylines heading into Week 1, which would be Lamar Jackson and his contract situation. The 2019 MVP did say that contract talks will stop tomorrow, Friday, September 9th. My question is, will the Ravens be able to get a deal done? In my honest opinion, I don't think that they will, which will mean that the Baltimore Ravens will have quite the interesting season and off-season. My main concern with this would be that Lamar Jackson is playing on a contract year without a deal done. The quarterback is definitely taking a bet on himself. My question is, will it pay off? I definitely do not want to see Lamar Jackson getting hurt, but I do have concerns with injury due to his ankle injury last year, and because of his playing style, the probability of him being hurt compared to other quarterbacks in the league is higher. If Lamar Jackson bets on himself and wins, the quarterback market is only on the rise, so Lamar Jackson's asking price will only be on the rise as well. A fun fact that I like to point out is that Lamar Jackson is 37-12 in the regular season as a starting quarterback. In my opinion, I think the Ravens will bounce back from injury-plagued season last year and contend for a division winner and even the Super Bowl. This will definitely make the Lamar Jackson situation more intriguing if this proves true. Another Ravens storyline I would like to talk about, and a personal storyline that I'm watching, is Rashad Bateman, Baltimore's new wide receiver 1. My question revolving this second-year wide receiver is, will he break out? Because of his promising highlights last year, this leads me to think that he will. And if he does, I think Rashad Bateman will unlock a Ravens offense that we've never seen before with Lamar Jackson. Another team I'd like to talk about would be the Green Bay Packers. The first thing that I'd like to talk about with the Green Bay Packers would be their wide receiver situation. This will be their first season without star wide receiver Davante Adams. My main takeaway of this storyline will be which wide receiver is going to step up. The Packers wide receiver room currently consists of Sammy Watkins, Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, Romeo Doubs, Amari Rodgers, and Christian Watson. If we're talking about immediate results, I definitely see that coming from Allen Lazard. Given the fact that Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson are rookies, Randall Cobb is past his prime, and Sammy Watkins has a lot of questions revolving his injury history. Lazard has that experience with Aaron Rodgers that definitely makes him the wide receiver 1 for that team for the time being. Another thing I'll be watching for with the Green Bay Packers is their defense. I personally think that the Green Bay Packers could have a top 5 defense this season. Players such as Eric Stokes, Jair Alexander, Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, and first-round picks Devontae Wyatt and Quay Walker, I'm very excited to see how the Packers defense plays this season. Now let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. I personally think the Dallas Cowboys had one of the worst off-seasons in the NFL, losing players such as Amari Cooper, Randy Gregory, Cedric Wilson, and even more players. With Tyron Smith now being hurt, that raises a lot of questions for the Cowboys' offensive line. My question to this would be, how will they overcome the lack of offensive line? With Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson leaving in the offseason, this raises many questions for Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. Given Lamb has a historic number 88, will CeeDee Lamb step up and finally be the wide receiver 1 of the Dallas Cowboys? CeeDee Lamb does have tremendous shoes to fill, especially with the lack of wide receiver room the Dallas Cowboys have right now. Another storyline for the Dallas Cowboys would be Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. What can Ezekiel Elliott still bring to the Cowboys? Only time will tell. And will Tony Pollard finally step into that running back 1 position for the Dallas Cowboys? In my personal opinion, there are a lot of question marks surrounding this team. Especially with the Eagles bolstering up their roster, this doesn't make it as easy for the Dallas Cowboys to win the NFC East. Dallas also doesn't catch a break week 1 of the regular season because their first opponent will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Speaking of NFC East, this leads into my next team to talk about, which will be the Philadelphia Eagles. As of right now, before the season even begins, the Eagles are the preseason favorite to be the winners of the NFC East. I can understand why a lot of fans and football fans think this way because the Eagles brought in a lot of new players to this team. A.J. Brown, James Bradbury, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson are just a few of the new names in Philly. The Eagles have great players such as Dallas Goedert, second-year wide receiver Devonta Smith, Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and others. This team has one of the most complete rosters in the NFL, and it leads into the biggest question mark with this team, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts enters year 2 fully starting as the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. In my opinion, this is a make-or-break year for Jalen Hurts, given the fact that the Eagles built a fantastic roster around him that makes it desirable for disgruntled quarterbacks to go to. The Eagles also have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, so a lot of fans are pointing out that Jalen Hurts has no excuse but to break out. In my opinion, I do think that Jalen Hurts will break out. He has all the resources to do this, so I'm curious to see how he does in the regular season with the Philadelphia Eagles. Speaking of quarterbacks in a must-prove year, this leads into the next topic, which would be the Miami Dolphins and quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. The main question I have for the Dolphins heading into this season will how will Tua perform this year, especially with new addition wide receiver Tyreek Hill. A lot of people are questioning whether this connection with Tyreek Hill and Tua will work out, and also people question how accurate Tua will actually be this season. If everything goes correctly, in my opinion, which means if everything goes correctly, the Dolphins could be this year's Bengals. They have a new head coach, a revamped offensive line, and a retooled running back room. I think the Dolphins could make some real noise if everything goes according to plan. Lastly, will the Dolphins make a statement win against rival New England Patriots week 1 of the regular season? Only time will tell, and we'll figure that out. The Kansas City Chiefs have a lot of question marks going into this regular season. They lost wide receiver Tyreek Hill, so they will have to retool the whole entire offense due to the departure. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs did add Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquise Valdes-Scantling, along with drafting wide receiver Sky Moore in this past draft. I think this will be a true test for Patrick Mahomes, and he will succeed. I do think the Kansas City Chiefs still have that contention for a Super Bowl in them. I'm curious to see how they look without a key piece of their offense. A lot of teams in the AFC West, if not all of them, have amazing rosters, so I'm curious to see how the Raiders will do with Devontae Adams and how good that connection will be with Derek Carr, followed by the Chargers' elite defense and Derwin James, Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, and Joey Bosa. And I'm also curious to see the kind of quarterback we're going to play between Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, and Russell Wilson for the Broncos. Broncos are another team that I'll definitely be watching a lot of because I truly think that team has a chance to win the AFC West. I'm also very excited to see Russell Wilson's reunion in Seattle, playing against his former team that he won a Super Bowl with. I think the Broncos and Chargers have a real chance at winning the AFC West, but you definitely cannot count out the Chiefs. I do have the Chargers having a slight edge to win it, although it's going to be such a cutthroat division. Last but not least, I would like to talk about the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the main storyline coming out of the San Francisco 49ers would be Trey Lance. Trey Lance makes his debut against the Chicago Bears this Sunday, and how will Lance perform? And what will the Shanahan offense look like with Trey Lance? Keep in mind, when Trey Lance was playing games last year, the offense was still centered around Jimmy Garoppolo. Speaking of Jimmy Garoppolo, the San Francisco 49ers decided to keep Jimmy Garoppolo at a backup position, which means that San Francisco might have one of the best quarterback rooms in the league, and the best backup quarterback in the league. A lot of people and experts believe that this move will add pressure to Trey Lance and his performance, especially because San Francisco gave up so much to get this young quarterback. San Francisco is a ready-to-win-now team, so I'm curious to see if Trey Lance just so happens to perform poorly, will they put Jimmy Garoppolo back into the mix? In my personal opinion, I think Trey Lance will be just fine, and I think that he will amount to be a big-time quarterback in this league. Like I said before, in a couple of these situations, only time will tell, and I cannot wait to see Trey Lance take the helm of the San Francisco 49ers. Last but not least, I have the Carolina Panthers and Baker's revenge game against the Browns right off the bat week 1. The former number 1 overall pick plays his former team, the Cleveland Browns, after a messy divorce with the team. I do have Carolina having the slight edge over Cleveland, and I do think that they could win this game. But my long-term questions for the Carolina Panthers is, could they be a playoff team? Baker Mayfield's healthy after coming off a torn labrum. They traded for Laviska Shenault, and they have Christian McCaffrey. And to be fair, the NFC as a whole is in a very weak position right now. There are also big question marks around head coach Matt Rule. Those are my personal storylines that I will watch throughout the NFL season, especially week 1. This is Kate's Takes. See you back for more.